It's just only a few days before April arrives on Friday for April Fools. I thought it'd be pretty cool to talk about some characters, maybe some silly characters that we can get, maybe characters that are also most likely to be added into this game. Came up with a little list for today for a little bit of discussion, so you guys can get into it if you want to. And most likely DLC characters that could be included for crossplay if it comes out for April. I hope it does, at least as for the late Q1 or late Q1 for 2022 for this brand new year. And I'm going to start with just April Fool's characters that they could probably do. And it's pretty cool to see and just think of these silly characters, these goofy characters they could probably add into the game. I don't even care who they add into the game. You know, is a new character. It's going to be fun to play and showcase and check out whoever it is, even if it's another protagonist or maybe a most wanted villain, because a villain is needed for this game. It's lacking for the roster, and we have so many heroes that we know and love from our favorite Nickelodeon characters and favorite Nicktoon show. So I came up with a little list of April Fool's characters they can probably just throw in, just for laughs, and it'll be fun to really have those kind of characters. And for me, I think any character can fit in this game, and they can have their own moveset regardless. Even if someone that's not much of a fighter, like Arnold Shortman, for example, who deserves to be in this game, he can still have his own moveset and abilities and offensive capabilities and more to be able to shine on the roster for this game. So it's so much fun playing, and it just, as the new month gets closer and closer in a few days, and only in a matter of a few days, I'm just more excited to see who they tease, what's going to be coming out for this April update. Is it going to be some kind of new character, or is it just going to be cross-play itself alone with a few patches and changes to these characters and more, maybe even more changes to the menu that we don't know about that could be included with this update. With some April Fool's characters that I'm going to just run through from my list. This is going to be in the description for you guys if you guys want to check it out. And you can have your list of April Fool's characters or characters you still want to see added into this game that you think most likely will be out and be arriving into this game next. The next character, who's going to be the next most likely DLC for this game to be included for an April update that comes to your mind. So, April Fool's characters, I went as far as some Nick Jr. characters. I already talked about these before, which is Nick Jr. exclusive characters that they can take from these different worlds and different shows. Blue's Clues, for example, it's Blue from, if you guys remember the show, they can get her into the game as a cool little April Fool's DLC. Dora the Explorer, with all types of ability, and she can probably bring out different projectiles out of her backpack, because her backpack always seems to have almost everything that she needs along the way for her journey or wherever she needs to go. Because there's always 3 places or something that she needs, and she has to check her backpack during the show to go in there and see if it's in there, and we help her find what she's looking for from her own backpack. So it's pretty cool to see that, and that could be something that could be implemented for her little abilities for her backpack, just having almost everything, just even the most dangerous projectiles and different toys that can be used against the opponent to cause some serious damage. And Swiper the Fox, I think would be really funny to see in this game. Swiper, no, Swiper. It's just so many characters that come to mind from these different shows that I've been watching. Swiper the Fox would be really funny to see in this game. And just another goofy, he's goofy, but he could probably fight as a serious fighter. From Hugh Neutron's world, Sheen Estevez. Sheen is pretty crazy, and then when he went evil or when he went rogue, more like it, he was very dangerous. He had all these different abilities, and he had complete control over Retroville, so who knows what Sheen could be capable of. I don't remember too much about Fanboy and Chum. I wanted to put Fanboy in this game. Maybe they could be out together for a duo, almost similar to how we have Ren and Stimpy, for example. So I selected him as another potential April Fool's DLC with some fun. And I think out of all these characters that I just mentioned so far, I would love to see Hugh Neutron come in here throwing some pies. I made a moveset for him, character ideas I talked about before, with ducks and his love for ducks and pie. He can use that for some offense, and it can be something similar to how Garfield uses it in this game. But if you have different variations of the pie that can do some damage to the opponent for some strong attacks, launch it and be able to get the dub that way. But he's a funny character, and it'd be really fun to see him in this game as a little bit of a joke character, but definitely going to be dangerous. Maybe his own alternate costume. See how we have some of these. They can have more than one costume be included in this game that can really fit the that particular character that comes out for DLC. I don't know if anyone remembers Moose and Z. It's another Nick Jr. show, but just speaking of duos again with Fanboy and Chum that can come out together. Moose and Z could be something similar to how Banjo-Kazooie plays in Super Smash Bros. And another character that came out way before they did for DLC was Duck Hunt. So Moose and Z could probably play like Duck Hunt as a duo, similar to how Ren and Stimpy is a duo in this game. You got Cat Dog, and then they can add more duo characters that are paired together, similar to Ice Climbers. The list goes on. Pokemon Trainer, Duck Hunt, Banjo-Kazooie, characters like that. And then so much more. And Zelda and Sheik used to be an all-in-one character because she was able to transform to Sheik from Super Smash Bros. Melee, I believe. And that transformation noise, I just remember that. But it could be more duo characters. It could be something like that. An all-in-one character that can be paired together to fight and be included into this roster. And another duo that I came up with, have you guys seen Kablam for April Fools? Maybe some DLC characters like this. It could be Kablam. I selected Henry and June. I forgot their names, but I love watching this show, the Kablam from Nick Jr. I didn't even realize it was part of Nick Jr. I just forgot all about it. I thought it was just on Nickelodeon in general. But Kablam is another show. And then just all these duo pairs, the Angry Beavers, they can get them in this game. Maybe they could be separate fighters. And then I went all the way to Lazy Town for Robbie Rotten for some DLC characters. And I wanted to include him because it's another silly, goofy character that can fit the April Fool's DLC. For a little idea, DoodleBob for SpongeBob's World. He can be dangerous. It's a cool little character. And it's another SpongeBob character. It's just someone that's a villain that's needed to add to the villain roster. Destroying people with a pencil and just doing all types of different crazy moves. And then, since we only got one Vlad Thornberry's character, what about Donnie Thornberry? He appears on the screen too, from the settings. When you want to change the settings, maybe they can pull him from the settings menu and put him into the roster. And he appears in the background for the Wild Waterfall stage, or the actual stage that's included with Nigel Thornberry, his stage. He's a character that appears in the background, so why not have him run around and just wreak havoc as a little April Fool's DLC. Those are just some of the characters that I came up with for April Fool's. But now I'm going to talk about most likely characters that I think we're going to get. And let's just go back just to the same almost identical discussion, but just based on the pattern. Let's go back. See? We have Garfield as the featured character for December. We have Shredder. See, both of the two most recent characters in this game have been featured, and it just poses the question again: why is he on the screen? Why is Gary on the screen? Is he a fighter? Is this the next fighter that's going to be most likely to be in this game? It could be, but I already talked about Gary individually in a separate video. It's gotta be a SpongeBob character. I think it's most likely gonna be a SpongeBob character, because they have quite a few. They got quite a few SpongeBob characters in the files with Squidward, Plankton, and Mr. Krabs. I'm thinking it might be Mr. Krabs. I will go as far as saying that first. It's somebody from SpongeBob's universe, and just from the pattern on the screen. Going back to the roster. Training. You got 3 protagonists I mean, why not add another protagonist from a show? They have way other characters, so many other characters. You got 3 SpongeBob characters. Maybe it's gonna equate to 4 SpongeBob characters. We might get our fourth actual character. Let's say our very first SpongeBob character. Or I can say our very first SpongeBob villain character. But it's gotta be Mr. Krabs. I'm thinking it might be him. He could be the next most likely DLC character. Somebody from the SpongeBob universe. That picture probably hints at something. It's someone from the SpongeBob universe next. Even though it's not Gary, it's definitely someone from his universe that's gonna get into this game for our April DLC. I don't care who it is. It could be someone, just anyone. Flying Dutchman, Man Ray, the Bubble Buddy, Gary the Snail, Larry the Lobster. I already said Mr. Krabs the Squidward, Plankton, just another iconic villain. I think it could be him. It could be Plankton. And he can come out with the Krusty Krab stage. But Mr. Krabs would probably be the better fit. Because that's his business. Just from Mr. Krabs, come out with the Krusty Krab with him to be included in the stage. So, well, with a stage and I'm not sure what kind of costume he'll probably end up wearing, if any, for paid DLC. But I think out of all the other characters I'm about to get ready to mention from most likely DLC for the next reveal for crossplay, it's gotta be someone from SpongeBob. Because if that picture does not hint at anything, it would break the pattern. An actual SpongeBob character is featured for the March update out of every character that they could have selected. So that tells me, to me, I don't know if anyone has that same feeling, just from that pattern. That tells me it's gotta be somebody from his show that's coming up next, for most likely. So I'm gonna pick Mr. Krabs DLC or some new SpongeBob DLC to be featured for the next character, the next character and DLC to be added into this game. If anything, if it's not a SpongeBob character, I'm going right from the list of characters that's already been confirmed for this game, for this roster. It could be Jimmy Neutron that could be next. If it's not a SpongeBob character, I'm gonna pick Jimmy Neutron. Could be someone from the show. Could be Rocko. Might even be another Ninja Turtles character. But we don't need another character from TMNT right now. We got to get some more characters from these other shows to expand. Jimmy Wakeman or SJ9, if you want to call her that. I already said Rocko. Plasmius. We don't have a villain for Danny Phantom that's in this game. Danny Phantom is just repping his own show. It's pretty cool. Danny Phantom from Danny Phantom. That's pretty cool. And then we got 3 Avatar characters. 3 Avatar reps. No villain. And you don't have a Fire Nation rep. You don't have a rep from that show. You got these guys, the protagonists. But you don't have Fire Nation represented. So Zuko, somebody from there. But Zuko was considered a villain at first. But later on, he changes. He goes face, or a protagonist. He eventually becomes a protagonist because they're searching for the Avatar and trying to destroy him, capture him, or whatever, and just for their plans, for the Fire Nation hunting him down. And then I went as far as adding Arnold Shortman from my list, from their most likely characters. They can get someone in there. He's not in the files, or just from confirmed characters that's supposed to be in this game. Not saying she's not a good rep. She's one of my favorites in the game anyway. But why can't we get Arnold in this game? We can get him in here. And then how about a Power Ranger? I selected a Power Ranger to wrap up for my final list of most likely characters to be in. I can add more. I can add so much more. I didn't want to add too many. Because all these shows, it's so many. It's way too many Nickelodeon shows that's missing from the rap and different characters that could be included. You got Doug and so much more that I liked watching. Chalk Zone, Chalk Zone. Who's got the chalk? And that intro, it just goes on and on for the nostalgia. With Chalk Zone, and then I almost forgot the name of the villains from Cat Dog Show. Just right off the bat, it just popping in my head. The Greasers. They were always trying to mess with Cat Dog, but I think one of them liked one of the characters. one of the greasers of the group liked Dog, I think. I forgot what her name was, but they can get them individual. They can be individual fighters. And then the big guy, I forgot his name. He's part of the greasers in the little jockey jacket. He had like a black jacket or something like that. He could be a powerhouse in this game. But he could be in this game too. There's so many. And then Zim's World with Dib. See, the list goes on and on. They can get more Garfield characters if they want to. And just surprise us. You know, Real Monsters, another classic I like playing the game for Sega Genesis. There's so many missing characters. I could have made this list a little bit longer. But I just think that it's gotta be... It's almost guaranteed to be a SpongeBob character. How do you go from this pattern, just again, to a SpongeBob character in the background? So it's gotta be somebody. Maybe it's misleading, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but I think this is the key factor, that key art, just from the background, like Gary in the background, on the news. He's gotta be part of it. It's gotta be someone from his world, from SpongeBob's world. Mr. Krabs, my top three, Mr. Krabs, or if it's not Mr. Krabs, it's definitely someone from SpongeBob Universe as my number one. Hugh Neutron, and then it could be Rocko or Vlad Plasmius. It could be somebody from there. Just from my little characters, from my most likely picks. But everything else is gonna be in the list as well for you guys to check out. But who do you guys think is next? Even if it's somebody that is not gonna be most likely. Who's somebody that would probably convince you to probably play this game outside the crossplay? What are some characters that you would like to see in this game as the year goes on? Because April's not here yet. We just got all these silly characters that we can get in that can be really good. And there's no such thing as a bad character in this game. So many good characters. I'm really enjoying it. So that's what I'm super excited to see. Hopefully we'll probably get something announced this week for a teaser and maybe a potential date to look forward to for a potential reveal.